We do not consent.
Please come journey with me inside the world where technology meets human mind, where body functions are wirelessly controlled and souls are overridden and mapped on three-dimensional workstations, all done from anywhere in the world to anyone in and of this world, where everyone has their own signature IP address, where one's soul can and is being hacked and overridden. Brain mapping is not new. The father of propaganda, Edward Bernays from the 1920s, was said to invent the business of mass mind control. The wealthy, elite, and powerful have understood for a very long time now how the brain functions, which led to behavior modification capabilities, which led to DARPA and now beyond. They have known how to make us behave and act through propaganda techniques and technologies for a very long time. In short, they have trained our minds since public schooling began, and now they have the technology to override our brains. The huge difference between nearly 100 years ago when Tesla rediscovered wireless communications and today's modern wireless techno capabilities is that the power elite know a massive amount more about our mind, body, and spirit than we do. Truth be told. Since at least the 1970s, psychotronic electronic harassment has been used to touchlessly torture anyone at will using decades-old, over-the-horizon technologies, cell towers, HARP, and geoengineering of the skies around the world to access all from anywhere at any time wirelessly. Touchless torture methods used are through microfiber-carrying nanobots inhaled by all through the aerosol releases from geoengineering activities overhead since at least 1978. We all have these micro nanofibers inside of us, as you shall learn from a little further in.
What this committee learned, I would like to review today with a little more detail than Dr. Faden said, because I think it must be engraved on our national memory. Thousands of government-sponsored experiments did take place at hospitals, universities, and military bases around our nation. While most of the tests were ethical by any standards, some were unethical, not only by today's standards, but by the standards of the time in which they were conducted. They failed both the test of our national values and the test of humanity. Americans were kept in the dark about the effects of what was being done to them. The deception extended beyond the test subjects themselves to encompass their families and the American people as a whole. For these experiments were kept secret, and they were shrouded not for a compelling reason of national security, but for the simple fear of embarrassment.
But we were told all that stopped. Is that untrue?
Untrue. These programs continue under new names, new budgets. It's the ultimate weapon.
And if you look at this from above, it's a really beautiful structure. I know it's about ugly stuff, but it's a beautiful structure because when you look at the entire thing and you try to find solutions to it, you realize actually that everybody who is involved on the different agendas, on the different levels, is doing the same mistake. It is the Luciferic game. Let me participate in your power and I will serve you. I don't want to know what you're doing. I don't want to stand in my own responsibility. Just let me participate from your power and I will serve. This is the Luciferic deal everybody is doing. And we are doing this by going to vote a government, yeah, that is taking care of all the pipes we are connected to. Yeah. But we let go of our responsibility and we let them do. They're giving control to the military domain. The military domain is giving control, same game, to the intelligence community. The intelligence community is giving control to the black magicians. The black magicians are giving control to the demons. And the demons lost control to their AI.
Our masters!
What do these things want, and why are they here?
You still don't get it, do you, boy?
They have recruited the rich and the powerful.
They're running the whole show.
Wake up! They're all about you, all around you. Blinded us to the truth.
Take a look. They are safe as long as they are not discovered.
I don't know what they are or where they came from, but we gotta stop them. Stay away from me. What these are? They have us. Look at them, they're everywhere.
We've interfered with the ability to compute with numbers.
6, 7, 8.
Okay.
Ooh, yeah. Yes.
We've interfered with the ability to speak.
London bridges, London bridge, London bridges falling down.
You think of something you can do, and we've basically interfered with it with this machine.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
So what's the problem?
I don't know.
This is torture, and I don't care if they call it no-touch torture, whatever euphemisms the U.S. government and their legal staff have come up with. This is the greatest atrocity and crime against humanity that we have known since Hitler. And they need sample points. And nobody likes to hear they were randomly chosen for torture.
So the world, so you're trying to tell me
Your
that
very consciousness, the thing you call the soul, is information contained in the biological computing machinery of your brain. And if someone can override that, you lose your sense of soul, your sense of self.
Well, it's kind of like man versus machine. Machine always moves faster than man is capable of doing
That's right.
itself.
Technology is evolving through mankind as a separate life form, faster than we evolve biologically. So machines will rule the world.
Dr. Robert Duncan put together the technology that allows the government to transmit thoughts and voices into the heads of Americans.
First question for you. What's negative about what you've done?
I've empowered the dark side by some of my work.
And what do you mean by that?
Technology is neutral.
Right.
It can be used for good or evil. I've worked on projects for the CIA, Justice Department, and Department of Defense.
You worked for these people. You worked on this. You helped to develop it.
I was naive. I did not know how the technologies were going to be put together and the ultimate weapon created. That's part of the whole world domination strategy. Control the population from subconsciously to consciously.
Dr. Duncan goes on to say, I was unlucky. I got a demonstration of the full works of mind control technologies in Satan, the silent assassination through amplification of neurons program, to try and kill the target through car crashes, heart attack, depression, and suicide, self-destructing behavior, neglect, or to be a programmed assassin. They were somewhat fair in that they told me ahead of time using the synthetic telepathy exactly how they were going to try to kill me each day. They told me every torture they were to inflict on me ahead of time. It was oddly routine for them. They said that they had successfully killed an artist in San Francisco with a heart attack, a woman pediatrician, an old lady in a nursing home. They felt pretty confident that they could kill me with EEG cloning. The 200 people in their weapon testings group are competing for points according to the main heterodyned project leader. Those that gained enough experience points could go on the psychic assassins and mind controllers team who work on real projects like world leaders after they collected the effectiveness of the pain data, collected the mind control statistics, and mapped the unique brain waves that I had for their database.
I see everything that happens every day, and I feel that it's a crime against humanity to not say these things and not make others aware of these things.
I don't get to have a normal life because I'm a targeted individual. I don't get to have a wife and kids and a career where I get to rise and fall on my own merits. That's not what targeted individuals get. What we get is grief and pain and hardship and loneliness. And it's not fair.
A vicious cycle of fear, avoidance, mistrust, and misunderstanding had been established. This was a battle in which I felt powerless and incapable of establishing any kind of peace or reconciliation. 2 years later, and the deterioration was dramatic. By now, I had the whole frenzied repertoire: terrifying voices, grotesque visions, bizarre, intractable delusions. My mental health status had been a catalyst for discrimination, verbal abuse, and physical and sexual assault. And I've been told by my psychiatrist, Eleanor, you'd be better off with cancer because cancer is easier to cure than schizophrenia. I'd been diagnosed, drugged, and discarded, and was by now so tormented by the voices that I attempted to drill a hole in my head in order to get them out.
Watching my every move. And it had to get to the point to where I was completely scared shitless of the fact that I had no privacy. That I finally was like, fuck it, I don't care, let them watch me. There's nothing that I am doing that is going to get me into trouble or get me any more hurt than I already am.
And I'm sorry to be coming to you looking so haggard and ungroomed and just terrible and tired and bloated. But this is what being targeted does to you. And this is the result of having to fight every day, all the time, for your life and your sanity. And nobody cares, or nobody understands, or they're told to not believe you and you're crazy.
First thing I want to talk about is nanofibers. Through nanotechnology and chemtrails, the control panel stalkers who are basically in an operations center watching the target individuals are able to monitor and induce all sorts of things in a targeted individual. So this is very freaky. They're able to manipulate a target individual's bodily functions, things like their pain receptors, their stress hormones, stuff like that. It is absolutely creepy.
Now, what I'm getting at is that the fact that Earth, literally this instant is a prison for people on Earth, and they are not even aware of it. And everything is encoded. And when you start to wake up, you understand this.